Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. 2 more days and an extended ceasefire in Gaza, what it means for American hostages and why the White House warns that it could be a double-edged sword. A drug trafficker shot dead in California. He's connected to the son of a Sinaloa cartel drug lord. A police program teaches California teens to make good decisions. This comes amid a rise in theft across the state. First up, more hostages being freed and more aid getting in. The ceasefire in Gaza will now go on for 2 more days, but the White House warns the Hamas terrorists could be using this time to regroup and rearm. NTD's Iris Tao has more from the White House.
The White House says that over the entire Thanksgiving weekend, President Biden was deeply engaged in the process of pushing for an extension in ceasefire for another 2 days, which is until Thursday morning Israel time. And in exchange, Hamas will need to release another 20 women and children in addition to the 50 hostages that are needed to release as part of the original deal, which was supposed to end today after 4 days of pause and fighting. Meanwhile, the White House says that there is no American among the 11 hostages released today, despite it saying this just earlier today. Watch.
We hope that they will be released today, but we won't know until we see the list and we see who actually comes across. We want to get them released right away.
A 4-year-old American girl was released on Sunday, but the other 2 American women, whom the White House has said that would be among the 50 hostages to be released as part of the first version of the 4-day ceasefire deal, are still not among the ones reunited with their families. But now with this extension, it is possible that the 2 women could be among the ones making it to the list over the next few days, although the White House also today saying that there could be 8 or 9 Americans who are still being held hostage in Gaza. And all of this is as the White House warns that this time in pause in fighting could allow Hamas to actually regroup and rearm themselves. Watch.
It's a real risk. You have to expect a group like Hamas, a terrorist group, which clearly doesn't abide by laws of war, will try to take advantage of any pause in the fighting for their own benefit. Time to refit, to rest your fighters, to rearm them.
The White House says that it's a balance between such risks and the need to get hostages out of Gaza, adding that it would actually like to see an even longer pause in fighting. Meanwhile, President Biden today saying in a statement that the U.S. is fully utilizing this pause, taking advantage of it to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Meanwhile, he asked that the U.S. will not stop until all hostages are freed.
Now let's take a look at other national headlines. Elon Musk is in Israel today to meet the country's top officials. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu took him around the ruins of an Israeli kibbutz near the Gaza border. Upon Musk's arrival, Israel announced its agreement with him over the use of Starlink communications. Going forward, the satellite service in the Gaza Strip will only be able to operate under Israel's command. Israeli President Isaac Herzog also scheduled an afternoon meeting with Musk. According to Herzog's office, the two will discuss rising anti-Semitism online. The visit comes following controversy over some of Musk's replies on social media posts, some interpreted as anti-Semitic. In response, Musk denied the accusations. Shooting suspect arrested in Vermont. 48-year-old Jason J. Eaton is now being charged with 3 counts of attempted murder in connection to a shooting on Sunday that left 3 Palestinian students injured. On Monday, Eaton pleaded not guilty and is being held without bond.
Mr. Eaton has now been arraigned and charged with triple attempted murder, charges that carry the potential for life sentences. This case remains the top priority of the Burlington Police Department. The investigation will continue, as will our collaboration with state and federal partners, to give our prosecutors the strongest case possible and to ensure that Mr. Eaton is held fully accountable for his actions.
Police say 2 of the victims are U.S. citizens and the 3rd is a legal U.S. resident. They added that 2 students were wearing the traditional checkered scarf at the time of the attack. 2 are in stable condition while 1 suffered much more serious injuries. Over to the U.S. Congress, a vote to expel Representative George Santos is expected as early as this week, something that was attempted twice before but failed. as Santos is awaiting trial to face 23 federal charges of defrauding donors and falsifying records. But this third try is expected to play out differently for the New Yorker Republican after an ethics report was released over the holiday break. Now several lawmakers who previously voted to keep him seated are flipping. Santos himself over the weekend acknowledged that the math doesn't look good heading into this vote. We'll hear from him again at a presser this Thursday. In China, hospitals are overwhelmed by new patients. The Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, on Sunday acknowledged a possible outbreak of another disease. People around the country are dealing with the symptoms such as cough, fatigue, and white lung. All three of these were also common for COVID-19 infections. Some parents say they had to wait for 8 hours for their sick kids to be treated. On Sunday, health officials told hospitals to extend service hours and set up more clinics. The WHO, which has come under heavy criticism before for allegedly being a Chinese mouthpiece, indicates the symptoms are normal, saying no new pathogen has been detected. Some suspect this could be another COVID outbreak. Outbreaks of mycoplasma pneumonia have also been reported in South Korea, France, and other countries. In the United States, California's Santa Clara County has also seen a rise in influenza-like illnesses and emergency room visits. It's currently unclear whether the illness is related to China's. A drug trafficker linked to the son of a Sinaloa cartel kingpin has died. NTD's Cristina Corona has more on the story.
Eduardo Escobedo, 39, a convicted drug trafficker known as El Mago, was fatally shot in Los Angeles County. Escobedo reportedly has connections to the son of incarcerated drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The incident occurred on Thanksgiving morning along Town Avenue in Willowbrook, where Escobedo and 47-year-old Guillermo de Los Angeles Jr. were both killed at the scene after deputies from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office responded to a report of gunshots. A third unidentified individual sustained non-life-threatening injuries and was transported to the hospital. According to The Times, Escobedo was the primary local marijuana distributor to El Chapo's eldest son, Ivan Archivaldo Guzman Salazar, having served close to 5 years in federal prison for conspiring to distribute over 22,000 pounds of marijuana and laundering drug proceeds. Escobedo was released in 2018. Investigators have not disclosed the motive for the killings. Cristina Corona, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Teens learning discipline and positive values. A Southern California Police Department has a program to help kids make better choices and avoid decisions that could eventually lead to arrests or death. Here's more from NTD's Ruby Novell.
Reports of smash-and-grab shoplifting offences are on the rise. Many are often committed by young people. A program, however, has been designed to correct this delinquent behaviour. The El Monte Police Department's TORCH, which stands for Teaching, Obedience, Respect, Courage and Honour. The program for teenagers combats unruly behaviour and attempts to rehabilitate.
Today we'll actually be going into the youth program location and talking to some of these young people.
Bad behavior was like, my mom would call me and I wouldn't answer, and I'd be out with my friends tagging up the wall, drinking and just doing bad. I've changed a lot, actually. I've got into church, I became Christian, and I don't really hang out with bad people.
At the time I was going through certain stuff, so I decided, okay, I'll give it a try, because it was good exercise, it was good discipline, and it seemed like I needed discipline at the time,
We also bring some rehabilitated people that were fortunate to be part of the system, and now they're in their late 40s, 50s, and then they give a heart-to-heart conversation to the children, pretty much owning and admitting their mistakes and where they're at now and how much they regret it. So the reason why I bring someone like that is because I want the kids to see that if they don't change, that could be them.
And it's a type of modification for their behavior to put them on the right path.
And they've been identified in large part by our community relations office through our school resource officers and our partnership with our teachers to identify those at-risk youth and get them involved in a program, not only to help them make better decisions, but to integrate their parents so that their parents are more keyed up and educated as to what's going on with their children and at school and in the home.
Yes, there's been changes at school. His grades are improving as well, and he's one of the first kids to finish whatever homework is assigned. So he's taking initiative.
And at the end of the program, how do you follow up with them? And have you seen many success stories from, personally youth that you've dealt with?
Yes, there's been a lot of success stories. Some of the kids have actually become explorers later, which is, our program for kids that are a little bit more wanting to be involved in law enforcement, whether it's police officers.
Through the Torch program, mentors and parents have been able to instill qualities such as integrity, knowledge, endurance, honesty, and discipline, amongst others. Ruby Lovell, NTD News, California.
A neat handwritten license plate revealed a stolen vehicle. The car was found in the San Francisco Bay Area. An officer from the Benicia Police Department found a, quote, beautifully handwritten license plate on a car. After a quick search, they discovered it was a stolen vehicle from Alameda. In a social media post, the department said, "We know we're not superheroes, but just FYI, this is not a way to get one over on us." The driver was arrested and booked into Solano County Jail. We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. A neck pillow that doubles as luggage storage. We'll have more on this clever new invention. Transgenderism. Why has it sparked debates across California? A registered nurse shares what she has seen in the gender movement. College football season heats up as eyes are on the Heisman Trophy. We'll take a look at the competition so far. More on these stories coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. Going on a trip but don't want to deal with excessive luggage? A mother and entrepreneur from Kansas has a clever solution to bringing necessary items while avoiding baggage fees. NTD's Stephanie Sikal brings us more.
Amber Waldeyer, a mother from Kansas City, has devised a clever solution to avoid airline baggage fees by creating Simplicity, a fabric sleeve suitcase disguised as a neck pillow. Able to hold 5 days' worth of clothing, accommodating items like 3 pairs of leggings, 5 shirts, and 6 socks, and it weighs approximately 5 pounds. Waldeyer's invention emerged from a desire to prioritize spending on memorable experiences rather than fees during a 2019 family trip. Overcoming personal health challenges, she turned Simplicity into a successful entrepreneurial venture, securing a patent in 2020 and achieving $90,000 in sales with global shipments. Waldeyer aims to support others through her company, emphasizing local production and generating praise from mentor Laura Trees. As a mother of 2, Waldeyer sees her entrepreneurial journey as a valuable lesson for her children, and Simplicity's product line is expanding to include a trinket bag, a camo bag, and additional prints in the coming year. Stephanie Sikal, NTD News.
A registered nurse and mother living in San Francisco shares her thoughts on transgenderism in kids. Here's the Epoch Times' Steve Ispas with Yvette Corcoran, who is also running for state senate.
Yvette, welcome to our program.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great having you here. We'd like to talk about transgender ideology and transgender issues. It's been a big issue in California. It seems like almost overnight it blew up. Why is that?
Well, I think there are a number of reasons why it is. One, it's being taught in the schools. In fact, it's basically being forced upon everybody. I think it is our government, and I think it's also the medical industry, because each child is worth $1.5 million to the medical industry. Once you start manipulating your hormones, you're medicalized for life. So insurance companies are helping to assist gender-confused individuals along the path to manipulate their body, or if they realize that they made this mistake and they want to reverse what they did, not much support in terms of that.
How much role do you think the government policies play into this?
A significant amount. One of the articles that the Epoch Times sent out not too long ago, the U.S. spent $4.1 billion on global LGBT initiatives. Everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves to be who they want to be. But to be teaching this in the schools, starting in the younger days, the kindergarten, preschool, and feeding it to these children all the way up through high school and college, this is harming our children.
Another study shows how adults over 50, there's a 0.3% transgenders. 30 to 49 is 1.6%, 18 to 30 is 5%. So there's a huge increase in the percentage as people get younger. Can you talk to that?
And I fear that those numbers are going to escalate and escalate even faster now. But now we're not only talking about the reproductive system, there are books in the schools that are teaching children about sexual acts with them, themselves, others.
What do you think some of the solutions are, and what do you plan to do?
Well, there's many solutions. One, people need to stop being afraid. They need to be aware of what's going on. And I am taking an enormous leap right now and have decided to run for state senate against Scott Wiener to stop this. And Kaiser San Francisco was one of the very first gender reassignment surgery centers in California. And when I worked there, the men and women who were wanting to move forward with gender reassignment would have to come in through my department before they could move on to surgeries and various aspects. These adults were required to go through vigorous psychological evaluations, and they would have to cross-dress for a year before they could receive their hormone blockers, cross-sex hormones, or be considered for surgery. And so that has now changed. The medical community has abandoned that standard of care.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Eyes on the Heisman Trophy in the world of football. Let's hear from NTD's Carlos Reyes for more. So, Carlos, with the college football season kind of coming to an end, who do you think will take home the Heisman, which is the most coveted award in college football, awarded to the most valuable player?
Yeah, David, Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. are about to clash once more in Las Vegas, and the stakes have never been higher. It's not just about the conference title at stake here, it's about etching their names in Heisman history. Bo Nix walks in as the Heisman favorite, riding a wave of exceptional performances alongside Oregon's fantastic receiver core. Penix, on the other hand, is labeled as the underdog, but has a chance to rewrite the narrative on Friday night after being pretty lackluster in his past 3 games. It's a fascinating duel between 2 quarterbacks with a lot to prove. Now, let's not forget Jaden Daniels from LSU adds another layer to the mix. His regular season is done and now is awaiting a game to see if his outstanding stats will be enough to sway Heisman voters. So let's break it down. Bo Nix is on a 4-game streak of 350-yard passing performances and has been the talk of the town after clinching the single-season record for highest completion percentage in college football history. On the other hand, Penix, the first victor in their head-to-head this season, faces an uphill battle in the Heisman odds. Although second in the nation in passing yards with 3,899, many have already counted out the Washington signal caller. However, Nix's recent stats speak for themselves. 3,906 passing yards, which leads the nation, 37 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. The man is on fire. But let's not underestimate Penix, who has proven his worth this season so far. Then there's Jaden Daniels, who's already laid down an impressive season. However, not playing for a conference title might be a factor in this heated race.
And besides these 3 players, any other underdogs or dark horses?
Yeah, David, we all love an underdog story, the dark horse, the wild card in this Heisman deck. Jalen Monroe of Alabama has been impressive so far at the end of the season, facing off against the top-ranked Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship game. He's in a position to shake things up. Right off the bat, Monroe might not be the front runner, but he's got that underdog charm that I just love. A win against Georgia, that's like a Hollywood ending to this season. A standout performance against Georgia could earn him some serious consideration moving forward. So yeah, Monroe's resume might lack the glamour of Nix, Penix, or Daniels, but his potential to upset the reigning champs could be the narrative changer. With 2,526 passing yards and 33 total touchdowns, Monroe's got a respectable resume. He might not snag the Heisman this year, but he could be setting the stage for a killer 2024 campaign. In conclusion, the Pac-12 championship game isn't just a contest for a conference title, it's a defining moment for Heisman aspirations. Nix, Penix, Daniels, and Monroe, all eyes are on them.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.